End Times Prophecy News Update. This is Carrie Geren Scoggins reporting. Today we're discussing the United Nations and our federal government's overreach. Going into territory that was deemed illegal when the Patriot Act expired, attempting to use the excuse of a global surveillance act. However, the United States has not signed on to the global court system of the United Nations. The 5 courts that the UN has, which enforces UN law. Had the United States been signed on to the global court system, it would have trumped United States federal, state, and local laws. However, this is not the case, and our federal Supreme Court still reigns supreme in our court system, deciding what laws are and are not constitutional. Because our United States Constitution is still fully intact, including our First Amendment. Our United States Constitution's First Amendment is in opposition to the UN's Constitution. The UN Constitution does not guarantee a freedom of speech, a freedom of the press, freedom of religion, and a promise to prevent censorship, political, religious, or otherwise. Our United States Constitution, still being intact, is a win for the United States citizens and civil rights for Americans at large. The UN's lack of freedom of the press stops media from being able to print or speak anything that opposes UN rules and regulations, laws such as their hate speech or anti-blaspheming laws, Marxist censorship, which is arbitrary, such as their most recent ban on all opposition to abortion. Be glad that the United States has not signed on to the global court system, and that we have a legal right to oppose any viewpoint, especially that of the state or the United Nations. The United Nations also does not have a separation of church and state. That wall of separation of church and state, preventing the state from bringing in religious censorship, Bible censorship, or state-approved Bibles, as well as keeping religion from becoming law, such as Sharia law of Islam, which many see permeating the UN as we speak, as more and more members of the United Nations are Islamic. Global government does not have the authority in the United States to come in and arrest United States citizens for violating UN laws. Write your representatives. Let them know that you do not support the United States signing on to the global court system, allowing UN law to trump United States laws. This means a lot for Christian civil rights. Mentioned in prior videos how Goals 2000, Hillary Clinton's move for the school system that would have allowed the state to question our children and find out what they're being taught in their homes, and if they were being taught, quote, biblical references to homosexuality, that they could have been arrested for a hate crime. Goals 2000 was not made law in the United States due to obvious opposition to our First Amendment rights and violating separation of church and state and keeping the state out of the church, stopping Bible censorship. However, the UN rights of the child accepts Goals 2000 and makes it a charter. Had we been signed on to the global court system, the UN could come in and arrest parents for teaching their children Romans chapter 1, Deuteronomy, or other scriptures that they've suddenly deemed illegal. Our First Amendment rights here in the United States, our freedom of the press, would be threatened just as it was in Haiti, where the United Nations came in with what they called peacekeepers, military troops carrying machine guns that shot down protesters and any media that was covering the Haitian issue from an opposing viewpoint to that of the United Nations. Total global authority with Marxist censorship that we have not seen since Communist Russia or Nazi Germany. A crackdown. Indeed, what happened to the pro-life protesters in Europe, who continued to speak out against abortion after the UN made such illegal? We've heard of those secret EU prisons, which are not so secret anymore, and plans to incarcerate United States citizens, of whom will violate UN law if enforced in the United States, such as gun control, Bible censorship, and the like. Our legal right to debate other religions, such as Islam, would be threatened under their hate speech and anti-blaspheming laws. Remember, the case that caused the Federal Supreme Court to review the United States hate speech laws in the Phelps hearings and then overturn them was that of the Netherlands newspaper writer, of whom was arrested for stating that Mohammed, by today's standards, would be a child molester, noting that he was married to a 6-year-old child. Many say in Islam that it's called thine, where they don't actually have legal penetration, and Muhammad stating that he did not have penetration until she was 9. The Netherlands newspaper stated that by today's standard this was pedophilia, and under Sharia law in most nations is still allowed. In the United States, our legal right to debate other religions is now fully intact, as the hate speech law was overturned in the Phelps hearings, and the Federal Supreme Court upheld our legal right to debate the issues. The legal right to debate Islam, homosexuality, abortion, or any issue from a biblical viewpoint from an uncensored Bible was cited in the Federal Supreme Court. So there is no religious censorship in the United States. And of course, as I've said many times, backed up by the biblical core values ruling, our legal right to state our biblical viewpoint on any issue, and our legal right to proselytize, to spread this gospel, upheld in the Federal Supreme Court, as they did not win a freedom from religion. There is no freedom from religion. This has been another End Times Prophecy News Update. Carrie Geren Scoggins. Thank you for listening.